So by now students should be familiar with area, since we've done area of triangle, we've done area of rectangles and squares. But what happens when we show students like an irregular shape? How are they supposed to find out the answer for that one? So simple. How I will start this lesson, like the introduction, is that I'll be putting like on my projector like a really big grid paper, and on top of that grid paper I'll be drawing this irregular shape. And the first thing I'll be asking students is, what can you tell me from this shape? Is it something that we've seen before? How are we supposed to find the area of this shape? I'll be giving students a minute to do think, pair, and share with their partners. And after the minute's up, I'll be like, okay, class, pay attention. Now it's time to share our ideas. I'll be using the class dojo, or if not, I'll be using popsicle sticks. I'll be calling out their names. That way they share ideas. It's gonna be pretty obvious that maybe since we've already done this before, especially on grid paper, we might have students saying like, oh, just count the little squares on the grid. And yeah, that could be it. But what happens when I remove the grid? Like, how are we supposed to find out the area of this irregular shape? So in that moment, I'll be giving students 30 seconds to do a little bit of more sharing with their partner and come up with ideas, and see how exactly we find out. And yeah, once students are done, I'll be like, okay, so how exactly are we supposed to solve for it? And at that point, maybe students, maybe one of them is gonna call the answer and be like, it's simple, let's just cut down the shape. I already did it, so yes, we're already gonna cut down the shape. So instead of having one shape, right now we're gonna have three. We're gonna have pretty much 2 rectangles and 1 square. So I'll be like, okay, class, we have figure A, figure B, and figure C. How exactly do we find out the area of it? Since students in previous lessons already found out the area, like how to do it, so students might be, oh, simple, teacher, let's just do like how we've been doing it before, which is multiplying the length times the width. So pretty much we're gonna find the length times the width for each figure, and once we have the answer for each figure, the next step is to add all 3 numbers. So we're gonna add the sum for figure A, for figure B, and for figure C. And once we get that, pretty much like the total combined of the 3 figures, then that's gonna be our area for this irregular shape. Another thing that I'll be doing is pretty much I'll be handing out this worksheet. Like I said, they're still gonna be at the beginning, they're still gonna be working out with the grid paper. So pretty much in this one, all they have to do is gonna be super simple. They're gonna count the grids, the little squares on the figure, and obviously they're gonna know that that's their area since they've done it before. But as we move on in class, I'll slowly be removing that grid paper out of their way, because they're not always gonna be counting on a grid to do it. Now they have to use rulers, they have to use other type of things to find the answer. So what I was thinking of another activity to do, but I just don't have it right now, is I will be providing the students with big not cardboard boxes, but like pieces of cardboard. So it's gonna be already cut down into irregular shapes, and they have to find the measurements of everything. So pretty much depending on how big the class is, or how many students we have, and how many materials of cardboards the teacher can bring in, like maybe a student can work in groups, or simple, they can work in pairs. So pretty much what I was thinking is obviously doing something like what I just did over here, but obviously they're gonna have it like in a piece of cardboard. So in pairs, they're gonna be able to find out what the area of their irregular shape is. Every student is gonna have an irregular shape, so they're not all gonna have the same answer. And students they're gonna be like, okay, we don't have a grid paper anymore, obviously, so how are we supposed to find it? I'll be providing them with a ruler, so all they have to do in their cardboards are like in inches, they'll be measuring all along. They'll be able to write on it. So for example, if I gave them in a cardboard something similar to this one, now they know in their cardboard they can actually cut down on the shapes, and on the side they have to, either on the side or on an extra sheet of paper, they can show the steps they did to take there. After they're done, I'll be giving each student, like each pair, like around 10-15 minutes to work on it. And after we're done, every pair is gonna come up and share what their irregular shape is, how they found out the area. We'll be doing thumbs up, down, or sideways if students agree, don't agree, or still a little bit confused. And that way, if they are confused, I can step in and give a little bit more of lecture of how exactly we're doing it with regular shapes. Once students are done with their cardboards and we're done sharing, I also provided another activity just to like go a little bit over they just went now, but they will be doing it in a worksheet. So I printed out this worksheet, but for some reason it came out too small. But pretty much in the worksheet you can see that like now they have irregular shapes as well, and all they have to do is the same thing. Pretty much what they did with their cardboard pieces, now they have to do it. They will be doing this alone, this worksheet. It can be modified depending on the grade level and the amount of students as well, and to see how well they're comprehending the lesson. But pretty much in alone, they'll be working on the assignment. So now that they worked on their cardboard pieces, they can use that as a little bit of reviewing in case they get stuck. And since they also wrote down the steps for that activity, they can be like, oh, okay, simple. I got stuck on figure number 1. Like, I can just start cutting down the pieces. I can start cutting down the image. So pretty much by then, they'll start getting an idea of how exactly to do it, since they already did something on hands-on activity. And at the end, we can all share our answers, and I'll be like, oh, okay, in case someone got like an answer wrong, I'll be like, oh, okay, can you share your steps? What did you do wrong? Let's try and figure it out together until we all get the hang of it. Another activity I had thought about was with Cheez-Its, but like I said, it also depends on the students and the grade level, because maybe for the little ones, bringing food into the classroom would not be such a great idea because they can start eating it by then. But for example, if they already used it for when we try figuring out the area of squares and rectangles, then pretty much to figure it out for this one, we can also do the same. Besides Cheez-Its, we can also use Post-its. So each Post-it can be like an inch of a square. So another activity that the students can do is with masking tape or just with Post-its and their own desks together as a pair, they can create their own irregular shape and then pretty much give out the measurements of the irregular shape. Lastly, for homework, what I'll be assigning is this super cool activity. It's called Zoo Fun. So each student will take it home and they will all be able to create their own zoo. They will have to use triangles, squares, rectangles, but obviously what they have to do is be creating irregular shapes that you can see from here and here. They have to create irregular shapes. It will be done on a grid paper, and then on the bottom, once they're done, they'll have like little questions on the bottom that they have to fill out. For example, this one says, what is the area of the elephant exhibit? So all they have to do is, by then, it's like depending on how big they created their zoo, they'll be like, okay, my elephant exhibit, it's 30 inches, and so on. So pretty much it will have like a lot of questions, and then towards the end they will have to combine on. They're like, so what is the total of what is the total area of your whole zoo? So by then they would just have to, like, it's super simple. They would just have to answer the questions on the bottom. They would just have to count depending on how many shapes or how many things they created. And that's pretty much it, how I'll be doing for area of irregular shapes. And I hope you all like it. Thank you.